Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started.
Sounds good.
Today we're diving deep into Liz Cheney's Oath and Honor.
All right.
This book, it gives us like a front row seat
Okay.
to the events leading up to and following the January 6th attack.
Yeah.
All from her viewpoint
Uh-huh.
as a Republican leader who refused to back down
Right.
from what she saw as the truth.
Yeah, so what makes this book so captivating is how Cheney, she meticulously lays out the timeline.
Okay.
Starting with Election Day 2020. She initially believed, like many,
Right?
that Republicans would accept the results once the major networks called the election for Biden.
It seems almost naive in hindsight, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
But remember, this was uncharted territory.
Right.
Cheney points to early warning signs, though.
Okay.
Like that tweet from John Eastman,
Yeah.
a conservative legal scholar suggesting Vice President Pence could reject electors.
Wow.
This was a fringe idea then.
Right.
But it shows how these seeds of doubt were already being planted.
And then there's Trump himself.
Oh, yeah.
Tweeting about, quote, ballot dumps.
Right.
Even though he was told those were normal parts of vote counting,
Yeah.
he was already crafting that narrative
Yes.
of a stolen election.
Exactly. And this sets a pattern that continues throughout the book. Trump consistently twists
Yeah.
routine procedures and facts
Uh-huh.
to fit his claims of fraud.
So the election is called,
Right.
but Trump's not conceding.
Nope.
What happens next?
Cheney takes us through
Okay.
a series of increasingly alarming actions
Oh, right.
by Trump and his allies.
Okay.
He appoints inexperienced but loyal figures
Uh-huh.
to the Pentagon,
Mhm.
signaling a potential power grab.
Oh, wow.
He fires Chris Krebs,
Yeah.
the head of cybersecurity,
Right?
who publicly affirmed the election's security.
And then there's that unforgettable press conference.
Oh, yeah.
At Four Seasons Total
I
Landscape.
know, right?
Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah.
Once America's mayor, standing in a parking lot,
Yeah.
making wild accusations of fraud
Uh-huh.
without any real evidence.
That moment, as Cheney describes it,
Yeah.
felt like a surreal departure from reality.
It's almost comical, but also deeply disturbing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And amidst all this, you have Gabe Sterling,
Uh-huh.
a Republican official in Georgia,
Right.
issuing a public plea,
Yeah.
practically begging Trump to stop spreading lies about the election.
Wow.
He warned that this rhetoric was inciting violence and putting lives at risk.
It was a chilling foreshadowing of what was to come.
Absolutely. And throughout all of this,
Yeah.
Cheney herself is facing growing pressure
Uh-huh.
from within her own party
Right.
to toe the line
Yeah.
and support Trump's claims.
She makes it clear that she's not going along with it.
Yeah.
On November 12th, she releases a statement
Okay.
acknowledging Biden's victory. This immediately sparks backlash from her constituents,
Oh, wow.
highlighting the deep divide that was forming within the Republican Party.
The pressure intensifies when the state of Texas
Yeah.
files a lawsuit
Right.
challenging the election results in several swing states.
Okay.
House Republicans are urged to sign an amicus brief supporting this lawsuit,
Wow.
which many legal experts, including conservative ones, saw as baseless.
Cheney refuses to sign.
She does not.
She even confronts Mike Johnson,
Oh, really?
the Louisiana congressman who circulated the brief
Right.
about its misleading claims. This shows that she's not afraid to stand up for her principles,
Yeah.
even when it means going against the grain within her own party.
And this is where we start to see the real cost of her dissent.
Okay.
Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader, initially hesitated to sign the brief as well, but ultimately caved under pressure from Trump.
Wow.
This reveals the power dynamics at play
Right.
and the fear that many Republicans had of crossing Trump.
The stage is being set for January 6th.
It is.
On December 12th, there's the
Yeah.
Women for America First rally,
Right.
where speakers, including Mike Flynn,
Yeah.
use incredibly inflammatory language that seems to directly foreshadow the violence to come.
Cheney describes watching that rally with a growing sense of dread,
Yeah.
realizing that Trump and his allies were actively inciting violence.
So Cheney sees the writing on the wall.
She does.
What does she do?
She takes action.
Okay.
She circulates a memo to her colleagues outlining the Electoral Count Act,
Okay.
explaining the process for certifying the election results,
Right.
and highlighting the dangers of Trump's unconstitutional plans.
Wow.
She even reaches out to Mitch McConnell,
Okay.
the Senate Majority Leader,
Uh-huh.
trying to rally support for upholding the democratic process.
It's a desperate attempt to avert disaster.
It is, and as we head into the final days days before January 6th.
Yeah.
The tension is palpable.
Right.
Trump ramps up the pressure campaign on Pence, urging him to reject the electoral votes.
Oh, wow.
There's even a meeting where Trump's plan to overturn the election is discussed with several GOP members.
Cheney is on the inside.
She is.
Watching all of this unfold.
Right.
And she's terrified of what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Then, of course, January 6th arrives.
It does.
She describes the events of that day from her perspective.
Yeah.
The chaotic scenes inside the Capitol as it's breached.
Right.
Her realization that the mob was attempting to violently overturn the election. And Trump's delayed response.
Her account is chilling.
Yeah.
She's inside the Capitol frantically trying to get her colleagues to safety.
Wow.
While Trump is watching television and tweeting attacks on his own vice president.
It's a turning point. It is, not just for the cooketry, but for Cheney's own political future.
Right.
In the aftermath of the attack.
Yeah.
She immediately calls for Trump's impeachment.
Okay.
This stance further isolates her within the Republican Party. But it also solidifies her commitment to holding Trump accountable for his actions.
And that's where we'll pick up next time.
Okay.
The story takes another dramatic turn.
All right.
As Cheney faces the consequences of her decision to break with her party and stand up for what she believes in.
Sounds good.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Okay.
Last time we left off with Liz Cheney calling for Trump's impeachment after the January 6th attack.
Right.
Talk about a bold move.
Oh, yeah.
What happens next?
Cheney takes us inside the Republican Party as they grapple with how to handle Trump's actions.
Okay.
She describes a climate of fear, with many Republicans privately condemning Trump's behavior,
Right.
but terrified of the backlash from his supporters if they speak out publicly.
So a lot of behind-the-scene maneuvering.
Oh, yeah.
And political calculations going on?
Exactly. Some Republicans, including Mitch McConnell, initially seemed open to the idea of impeachment, but ultimately backed down.
Wow.
Others, like Lindsey Graham, quickly shifted from condemning Trump to defending him.
It really highlights how Trump had reshaped the Republican Party in his image.
Absolutely. Cheney becomes a symbol of the shrinking faction within the party that still believes in traditional conservative principles and the rule of law.
She's ostracized and vilified by her own colleagues.
She is.
For refusing to go along with the, quote, big lie.
Right.
And this leads to her being ousted from her leadership position in the House Republican Conference?
Right. Cheney recounts the campaign to remove her.
Okay.
The threats and pressure she faced.
Wow.
And the arguments made against her by those who saw her as a traitor to the party.
It's a pretty brutal takedown, isn't it?
It is, but Cheney refuses to back down. She delivers a powerful speech on the House floor, defending her vote to impeach Trump, arguing that it was a matter of principle and upholding her oath to the Constitution.
She knew she was going to lose.
Yeah.
But she used that moment to make a powerful statement about the dangers of Trumpism and the importance of defending democratic norms.
Exactly. And even in her final remarks to the conference, before the vote to remove her, she offers a prayer for the party.
Wow.
Expressing her deep sadness at what it has become.
It's a poignant moment
that
captures the tragic division within the Republican Party.
It does.
So she's out of leadership.
Right.
But she doesn't disappear from the scene.
Nope.
What does Cheney do next?
Cheney makes another bold move.
Okay.
She joins the January 6th committee, formed by House Democrats to investigate the attack on the Capitol.
Right.
This was a risky decision, knowing that it would further alienate her from many Republicans and likely lead to more attacks from Trump and his supporters.
But she clearly felt that the need to uncover the truth about what happened on January 6th.
Right.
And to hold those responsible accountable.
Yes.
Outweighed any political considerations?
Absolutely. She saw this as a matter of national importance.
Okay.
A chance to defend American democracy against a very real threat.
So what happens once she joins the committee?
Well,
what do they uncover?
The committee's work is initially met with resistance. Trump and his allies try to stonewall the investigation, refusing to cooperate, and challenging the committee's legitimacy.
Key figures like Steve Bannon and Mark Meadows defy subpoenas, leading to contempt of Congress charges. But the committee persists, right?
Yes, and eventually they start to make progress, gathering evidence and interviewing witnesses. Cheney plays a key role in this process. Her sharp legal mind and deep understanding of the Constitution, evident in her questioning of witnesses.
The public hearings become a major turning point.
They do.
We hear firsthand accounts from Capitol police officers about the violence they faced that day. from election workers who were threatened and harassed, and even from members of Trump's inner circle who were alarmed by his actions.
Those hearings were riveting television.
Yeah.
They laid out a detailed and damning account of Trump's efforts to overturn the election.
They revealed the pressure campaign on Pence, the fake elector scheme, and the attempts to install Jeffrey Clark, a sympathetic Justice Department official, as Attorney General, to help overturn the election results.
It was a chilling portrait of a president willing to do whatever it took to stay in power, even if it meant undermining the very foundations of American democracy.
Exactly.
And Cheney's role in those hearings is prominent.
Yeah.
She's a forceful advocate for the truth, challenging witnesses, connecting the dots, and making the case that Trump's actions were a clear and present danger to the republic.
So while all of this is happening, Cheney is also facing re-election in Wyoming. We know how this story ends. But how does it play out in the book?
Cheney's 2022 primary race becomes a microcosm of the larger struggle within the Republican Party. She faces a Trump-backed challenger who repeats the big lie and accuses Cheney of being a traitor.
Cheney refuses to compromise her principles.
She does not.
Campaigning on a message of truth and accountability and warning about the threat to democracy posed by Trump and his followers. It was a brave stance, knowing that it would likely cost her the election.
And ultimately she loses the primary by a significant margin.
But her concession speech is not a surrender.
It's not.
It's a call to action. She vows to continue fighting for democracy and the rule of law, even if it means doing so from outside the halls of Congress.
Exactly.
So the book ends on a note of defiance.
It does.
With Cheney still committed to the fight, even after suffering a major political defeat.
Exactly, and that's what makes her story so compelling. It's a story about courage, conviction, and the importance of standing up for what you believe in, even when it's difficult, even when it costs you personally.
Yeah, it's an important message. It's amazing how Cheney manages to weave her personal experiences throughout this, political thriller.
It is,
We hear about the tense phone calls.
Oh, yeah.
The closed-door arguments, the emotional weight of her decisions. It makes you realize this isn't just some abstract political battle. It's deeply affecting her life and family.
It certainly humanizes the story. And what's striking is that despite all this pressure, she never seems to waver in her conviction. She could have easily taken the math of least resistance. Stayed quiet, kept her head down.
But she chose what she believed was right.
She did.
Even knowing the political costs.
It makes you wonder, what would you do in that situation? Would you have the courage to stand alone?
It's a tough question.
Knowing you might be ostracized by your own party, maybe even end your career.
It's a question worth pondering. Cheney's story reminds us that being a citizen in a democracy isn't just about voting every few years.
No, it's not.
It's about active participation, holding leaders accountable, speaking out against what you believe is wrong. Even when it's hard.
It is, and sometimes doing the right thing does come at a price.
Yeah, but her book also shows the power of truth-telling.
Absolutely.
Of refusing to be complicit. Even when it seems like everyone else is going along with the lie. That's a lesson that applies far beyond the events of January 6th.
Absolutely. So as we reach the end of this deep dive into Oath and Honor, what are some key takeaways for our listener?
Well, I think the biggest one is how fragile democracy really is.
It really is.
We can't take our freedoms for granted. It takes constant vigilance, active participation from all of us, not just assuming someone else will protect it for us.
And as Cheney herself argues, the future of American democracy might very well depend on whether enough people are willing to stand up and defend it.
That's a powerful statement.
It is.
Her book is a call to action.
It is.
Urging us to reflect on our own role in shaping the future of our nation.
So what will you do? How will you protect and strengthen our democracy? That's something to think about long after this deep dive is over.
Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures.
Oh, yeah.
And hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge. Spread the word.
All right. See you next time.